What's up, everybody? It's your boy Fox McFly, the guy with low no standards, and today we're looking at a Borderlands 4 cache build. I call this if looks could kill cache because all you have to do is look at an enemy and they disappear. So with this build though, I do know that a patch is coming more than likely tomorrow. Today is April 22nd. I wouldn't be surprised if the patch comes this week because I think next Thursday is actually considered May, and they usually do a patch the last Thursday of the month. So once that patch comes through, we'll look at it and we'll see how it still performs, and if we need to make adjustments, we can. There are a few things where I could see they want to patch, so we'll see. I think cache right now is really strong, and there could be a little bit of fine tuning that could happen. Now, this is going to be a re-upload because I felt like the last video was just way too rambly. It was way too long. It just didn't get to the point fast enough. So we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to keep it short, sweet. We're going to go through the skill tree. We're going to go through the specializations, and then we're going to go through the gear. And I'm going to just talk about what I think is going to be patched. I definitely know. And what kind of sucks, I'll do a little digression here. What kind of sucks is because I base this build around a certain item, so it kind of sucks when your item or something gets nerfed or patched or fine-tuned, if you will, because then you kind of have to go back through and you kind of figure out how to make it viable again. So we'll see. So let's go ahead. We'll get into the skills. Let me pull up my Mobalytics page. I have gamer brain, and I want to just make sure that I'm putting the points in the right spot. So the first tree we're going to be looking at is going to be the crossfire, or the red tree. We'll just call it red tree. We'll call all the trees by their color code. So we're going to be looking at the red tree. So we're going to put 5 out of 5 points into your huckleberry. This is just you gain increased critical hit damage. Then we're going to do 5 out of 5 into stand and bleed, and this is you gain a chance to critically hit with your action skills and guns. It's going to be really nice because we're using the bone totem, so that just gives the bone totems an ability to crit. So, and we also have the increased critical hit damage, so it just kind of works out. So we are going to do 3 out of 3 points into trick shot. And that's just you gain a ricochet chance with your guns. Your shots that ricochet this way are turned into bone shards. When bone shards damage an enemy, they create bone splinters that converge around them, dealing kinetic damage. Enemies damaged by bone shards take increased damage from all sources. The more fortune stacks cache has, the greater the chance. So we want to go ahead. We want to max this out. This does have a really cool interaction with the main weapon that we're going to be using. Then we are going to take 1 out of 1 into Devil's Times. We're just going to get that additional augment slot, and it helps us move down further into the tree. And then we do need just 1 more point, so if you feel up to it, this point is up to wherever you want to put it. Personally, I do a blur of fingers and brass, and this is whenever you gain a stack of fortune, you gain increased reload speed and fire rate with guns and action skills, and it stacks. So you get 5 stacks. It just kind of ramps up a little bit. You are free to put this point wherever you want to. Like just 1 shot into shoot us would be good, or 1 shot into just base fire rate with guns and action skills. That would be a good one too. This for me is just what I prefer, but you're free to put this wherever you want to. I would avoid Ride to Ruin. I just felt like it's not as consistent that I would like it to be, or I just didn't feel like it made a difference. I could be wrong. I did brute force my way through this build where I would spec the trees, go and fight, see how it feels, come back, kind of like tinker. And so I found like not having this and having it kind of gave me the same results, so I would rather put that point elsewhere. So moving down the tree, we are going to do 5 out of 5 into Lawless, which you just deal increased kinetic damage. And then we are going to put 3 out of 3 into War Wagon, which whenever you deal kinetic damage to an enemy, you gain a chance to refill ammo into the gun and restore action skill duration with diminishing returns. So we're not too worried about the action skill duration, but it is nice that you just refill the ammo into your gun, especially like with single shot weapons. It's really nice. What it doesn't say is, I guess it does say there at the bottom, but the ammo going into your gun is coming from your reserves. It's not like a Lucian's Call in Borderlands 3 where it just refills your mag. It is pulling from your reserve ammo. But I did find that putting 3 into 3 here is better than doing truck full of nitro, which is bonus to connect damage with ordnance and gear. We're not really doing anything with ordnance, so there's no point in putting points here. But in order to get down the tree, we are going to put 2 points into Pale Rider, which is now your action skills deal bonus kinetic damage. And we are going to be looking at the bone totems, so they're just doing more kinetic damage. So we do want to take 5 out of 5 into Nothing Beats Lead, and that's just a portion of all elemental damage that you deal is converted into kinetic. And the conversion in this way is increased. So elemental damage converted is 45% damage dealt, with the damage increase of 75%. And it is absolutely insane, especially when we start looking at our green skill tree. All of this elemental damage that we're going to be dealing is just, it's going to be increased. This is probably something that they're going to be looking at fine-tuning, in quotes. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but for now, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we're going to look at the green tree. We're not putting any points in the blue tree. I did look at blue tree in my testings, and I just found that red tree was more consistent with the weapon that we're using, and I just found that the red tree, the further you went down, especially when you get into Lawless and Nothing Beats Lead, like you can't beat it. Like it's too good. So looking at the green tree, we are going to put 5 out of 5 points into Charm Bracelet. So you just gain increased skill damage and further increased skill damage for every active bone totem. So the more bone totems you're throwing out, the more damage that they're doing. And we're going to be trying to keep our bone totems up nonstop. And with one of the pieces of gear that we're using, which, spoiler, it's the triple bypass, per 1 hit of triple bypass, you are getting a bone totem back. So you can, whenever you're like, oh man, I need a totem, you just hit the triple bypass and you throw a totem. It's pretty easy. It's very nice. We are going to put 5 out of 5 points into O Fortuna. And so you just gain an increased windfall chance, and the Fortune Skill Cache gains increased elemental effect chance and elemental effect damage. The more fortune stacks you have, the greater the bonus. And this just ties back into when we're looking at Nothing Beats Lead. We're just further boosting our damage by converting that elemental into a kinetic damage. So very good here. We are going to go from here. The next point that we want to make sure that we take is Luckless, and it's whenever you activate an action skill, enemies near him and his bone totems become jinxed. Jinxed enemies take increased damage from all sources and deal increased damage. Basically, this is just slag from Borderlands 2 and a single skill point, and so it's kind of silly not to take it because it's just free damage. And yeah, this is one point that you have to make sure you take. It is absolutely crazy. So from here, we can kind of split our points however we want. Me personally, I like 3 out of 5 into Riding High, and so that's just Windfall gains increased duration. And then I do like to put 2 out of 5 into Bone Meal Ticket. So whenever Cash or one of the bone totems kill an enemy, restore action skill duration with diminishing returns. It's just nice to have a little bit more uptime. One thing that we're not going to take is an additional augment slot, just because I've messed around with it. I feel like too many augments with the bone totems, it's kind of too much. So I opt not to take this because we want to use this point a little bit further down in the tree as well as I didn't take anything into Before She Knows You're Dead just because the movement speed, as much as I do like movement speed, I just didn't feel it was necessary because really all you're doing is walking around staring at things. So the point that I like to take is Red Moon Rising. So while Windfall is active, Cash deals bonus fire damage with his guns and action skills. And as we know, based off of the other tree, all that fire damage is going to be converted into kinetic with a damage boost. So just a little bit of extra damage is good. I know it's only 3%, but 3%'s a lot sometimes, you know. So the next thing, we are going to take 5 out of 5 into Accursed Bones. Whenever Cash deals action skill damage to an enemy, that enemy becomes jinxed. Jinxed enemies take increased damage from all sources and deal decreased damage. Cash gains life steal against jinxed enemies. So, you know, always dealing more damage is always nice. But on top of that, we're getting decreased damage taken. So that is also very good. And then we get a little bit of life steal. So it's not, honestly, the life steal, it says 60%. It's not as much as it seems, but at least it's something. And instead of doing like Turn of Fate where you gain life steal and if your health is full you get an overshield, That's nice, but we want to work our way down this portion of the tree. So the next we're going to do 5 out of 5 into Tormented. So Cash and his companions deal increased critical damage. This bonus is increased against jinxed enemies, just more crit damage. And then based off of the red tree, we have an increased crit damage as well. So just really nice to take that. And we want to put our last 2 skill points. We want to do Snake Eyes, so whenever Cash shoots an enemy with a gun, fire a bone shard at all other jinxed enemies. When bone shards damage an enemy, they create bone splinters around them and converge around them, dealing kinetic damage. Enemies damaged by bone shards take increased damage from all sources. It's just free damage. And it's pretty cool, too, because you can see the bone shards based off of this and the red tree, and the animation for it, are however it looks in game, is absolutely crazy, and it's sick. So there's like a scrap gun underbarrel, I think some guns can roll with, where if you shoot that and then fire at them, they take increased damage. So it's basically that without having to have that part on another weapon. So then our last point that we want to use is called Call. And whenever Cash activates an action skill, he and his bone totems automatically critically hit jinxed enemies. So yeah, that's pretty insane too, especially because with using the triple bypass, we're going to be having bone totems up all the time. So you're basically you're going to be doing a lot of crits. The augments we're going to take is going to be 5 is alive. So Claromancy gains an additional charge and lightning rod totem. So roll 5s to spawn a lightning rod totem that occasionally calls down a lightning bolt that causes it to chain lightning to all nearby enemies. Where the Cash inflicts a status effect on an enemy, lightning bolts spawn faster whenever. So this is just more elemental damage. And with the chain lightning, it's going to chain to a lot of other enemies, just like the chain lightning in Borderlands 2. So, and then on top of that, we now have the ability to crit with it, and all that elemental damage is converted and increased by the kinetic damage in the red tree. So, very good. The last one we're going to take is easy 6s. Whenever an enemy with the tainted bone totem attached to it dies, that bone totem splits into 2 mini bone totems. Cash may only have a single set of mini bone totems active at a time. That is fine. So roll 6s to spawn a tainted flame totem that allows enemies and periodically explodes, dealing incendiary ordnance damage to nearby enemies. The higher Cash's fire rate, the more often it explodes. So just on the off chance that we do end up having a bone totem that explodes, we're just trying to get our elemental damage to be converted into kinetic, because it gets that damage increase, and it ramps up pretty fast. It's really cool to see. We'll do a little bit of gameplay here at the end. I'll do a single run on UVH6 and true mode on, and it's insane. So as far as specializations go, I'll let you just take a look real quick. This is a modest, I feel like it's a modest spec of where my points are, but the ones that we want to take are Overkill, now with Caffeine. So this is just whenever a rep kit is activated, we get action skill cooldown. Using the triple bypass, we're just going to be having bone totems up whenever we want. I am a gun, and then Contamination. So those are the perks that I use. I was looking at Riddle You This, but it deals gun damage. So stacks are lost if a stack has not been gained for duration. I might try this again and swap it with Overkill, but so far Overkill's been working, and I haven't tried this yet. So if you try it, let me know in the comments if your clear times are pretty good. So as far as the inventory goes, there is one single weapon that we're going to be looking at, and that is the Rooker. And you can acquire the Rooker by your Vault card. It's going to be Vault card 1, and it's just you go out, you do your farming, you get some points. You can come here to reload it or respin it. I don't know. Re-roll it. Oh my goodness. So let's just for fun, let's roll one, see what we get. It's pretty bad. That is a bad one. So anyways, the one that I have, no, get this out of here, dude. That is terrible. Okay, so the one that I'm rocking, I rolled this a couple days ago. I've been using it. It only has an 88% crit damage. But with that Jacob's license accessory, those crits are going to be just bouncing around like crazy. Even more so because this has a very cool interaction with the alt fire. The way that it works with the skill trick shot. So pretty much like if you crit with the underbarrel, because as long as you're looking where you fire the needles, it's going to go wherever you fire them. So if you crit, the crits are going to ricochet to another spot, but those crits are only going to be where you look. So you're going to see those needles start to multiply, and they're going to multiply real fast. And this is one thing that I think that they are going to look at nerfing, because it's just, it gets insane. It ramps up super fast, and like your clear times on like vault bosses, like mobbing and drill sites, like it's so fast and it gets so obnoxious. I've crashed my game on Radix so many times from this. So that's an interaction I think they are going to be looking at. So, but essentially, you're just going to want to hit the underbarrel. You're going to fire it. You're just going to stare at an enemy. It's going to multiply those needles, and everything's just going to disappear. We already talked about the triple bypass. This is basically just a utility. Like, you get some good healing on it, and then every time you hit it, you get a bone totem back. So now with this augment, we have 4 charges on our bone totem. So if you ever just need a bone totem to throw out to try and get windfall, just throw one out. One thing I didn't mention, with this 04 tuna, I did put 5 out of 5 because I felt like more often than not, every time I would roll a bone totem, I would hit windfall. So that's why I also only put 3 points into riding high, because I can get windfall pretty regularly. So just having that extra duration is a plus, but not a necessity. It might be a necessity. It's nice. So these two work really well together, and especially with the triple bypass, like you can keep windfall up for a pretty good amount of time. As far as ordnance goes, I'm using a knife. You can use whatever ordnance you want. A water pot would be good, or waterfall. You can use whatever you want to. I just wouldn't use anything like a heavy ordnance. I would use like a utility, like a grenade. I know there's another really good new knife from the DLC, which I haven't played the DLC yet. Well, I haven't farmed for the knife yet, but I feel like that would actually be a better option than the crit knife. But the crit knife is nice. The crit knife is good. We all love the crit knife. So as far as a enhancement goes, I am going to be trying out this. I just got this legendary enhancement for Jacobs with bounce pass, which increase the number of possible ricochets by 1, and sequencer, so we get consecutive critical hits stacking of plus 5% bonus for max of 8 stacks. We're going to see how this goes. I haven't been trying this. I've actually been running a piercer Jacobs, which is okay. It gets the job done. Like, don't get me wrong, this build is not optimized with firmware and everything like that. It still just works, and it's so strong. So I was using this just for gun accuracy, and then I was using Torg, but I believe I was using Boom Puppy. I was using Boom Puppy Torg because of the one of the other rookers that I have has a Torg license impact mag, so that was nice. But now that I have this, I was going for something a little bit more in the Jacobs line to just see how ridiculous it gets. As far as the shields go, the fireworks, you can't beat the fireworks. It's just for mobbing, bossing, all around, the fireworks is just going to be a really good shield. The one that I rolled here has turtle on it, so you get plus 40% shield capacity, and it's absolutely insane. If you want, you can do where is it? A Watts for dinner. I do have one with Siphon on here somewhere. Yeah, a Watts for dinner with Siphon. You can go with this. It's always a good choice. It gives you a little bit of extra damage, but you don't really need that extra damage. So that's why I say go with the fireworks, just for the mobbing potential. And just all around, with like a turtle roll, you're going to have a better shield capacity. And then as far as the class mod goes, gamer. It's going to be the gamer. This is another thing that I think they're going to look at. So the gamer, whenever Cash critically hits an enemy with a gun, bleed that enemy. Whenever Cash kills an enemy with bleed with a critical hit, he gains 7% chance to spawn a Chaos Totem. While Windfall is active, double that chance. They're gonna do something with this bleed, because the bleed is insane. It's it's crazy. Now, I don't know if they're going to look at nerfing this or fine tuning because it is kind of hard to get. It's in the new DLC, but you can only get it from Nightmare Rifts. So I feel like if an item's a little bit harder to get, then it's kind of okay. It's kind of like if you think about the Norfleet in Borderlands 2, like that is a fantastic rocket launcher. It's the best in the game, in my opinion. But it's so freaking hard to get. And I think that that's why the power is okay, because it's so hard to get. So one of the other things, so whenever they fine tune cache, I'm going to be looking at a hot slugger as my go-to. Another one that we can use is going to be a Shalashaka or a Hellwalker. And the way that these guns work, like if you get like a one pump chump kind of like shotgun, when you have the skill from the red tree, when you have this war wagon, you can keep firing them. You don't have to reload, but that's why I'm not going to recommend a Shalashaka, because it gets its damage from reloading. So if you're never reloading, you're not going to get that damage boost. But it is a fun one to have, and I do have the shiny version. I was just messing around at one of those like ordnance sites or something, and it dropped, and I was like, oh, sweet. I want to get a shiny Rooker. That would be cool too. But yeah, this is pretty much it. We'll go through the skill trees. I'll just let you guys take another look. I'll slow it down in case you want to take screenshots. Yeah, it's really cool. I feel like the red and the green tree, they really harmonize well, because one boosts like your overall damage, the red tree, and then the green tree comes in with like this windfall chance and like your elemental damage and your jinxed. So it's like they just really harmonize well together. I tried with the green and the blue, but I just didn't feel the harmony like I did with the red tree. So try it out. Let me know what you guys think. We'll come back to this post patch. Hopefully nothing too crazy. I think they are going to be looking at the Rooker too, just because that underbarrel, the way that it interacts with the ricochets, and I think the ricochets, once they happen, they can only follow like that programming of wherever you look. So you'll see them start to multiply pretty fast. We're going to try out this Legendary Jacobs enhancement too. I have not tried this out on mobbing yet. I literally just got it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, they're probably going to be looking at the Rooker. It is a free piece of content from your vault card, and it's the Mercenary Headhunter pack. So this was a free one. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what they think to do with it. Now, I do think as far as Vault Hunters go for Borderlands 4, I do feel that Cash is by far the best Vault Hunter. And not necessarily because I feel he's overtuned right now, but because I feel like there's so much build diversity, and I feel like every single action skill is viable, and you just build around it. So unlike the other Vault Hunters, where I feel like you have good action skills, but you're kind of like in later parts of the game, you're shoehorned into a certain build. So it kind of makes them drop down, which is why I think Cash is so good. And honestly, Gearbox, you guys knocked it out of the park. Whoever did the design for Cash and came up with skill points, or the team that like worked on this, they deserve a raise. This is one of the most fun Vault Hunters I've had in a long time. I think the last one was when Athena was introduced, because her skill trees were so complex, and I'm glad to see that complexity kind of come back. So Cash is awesome. I think I still like Mo's a little bit better, but Cash is up there. One thing I do want to touch on just real quick before we get into the gameplay is, so even though we spec pretty far into this Crossfire tree, I would not use the action skill because I did not build around the action skill. It does good damage, but it's going to be nowhere near as good as the green tree. So just keep that in mind. You can mess around with the red tree in this build if you want to, but just know, in my opinion, I don't find it as strong as if we were to go with the green tree. So that's all I got for build-wise. We'll go over to drill site, and we'll see the clear time. So I'll see you guys over there. Before we do that, let's go ahead. Let's turn on Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, and True Mode is on. And yeah, I'll see you guys over there. So just real quick, we are going to hit the Cell Junk, and we're going to hit this Dr. Zed's station real quick, just so we get all of our cooldowns back. Alright, so I'm just hiding in the corner real quick, so we're going to activate this, and then I'll go through just what my thought process is for farming. Oh, good lord. So first things first, we want to go ahead and switch to our underbarrel. We're going to want to blow all of our cooldowns. We just want to get all of our totems out. I can't believe I already went down. And so we're going to charge. And we want to shoot in the air because these do have impact. So if you shoot something directly, it will explode and you'll lose your needles. And then we're just going to run around and we're just going to stare at things. We're going to throw out some totems. You can see we hit the triple bypass. We got a totem back. We hit the triple bypass. We got a totem back. We're just going to stare at this guy. We're going to hit him with a crit knife just to do some extra damage. And yeah, we're just chilling. We're just hitting the triple bypass, throwing the dice. And one of the cool things with the triple bypass is it has like a 30% chance on kill to restore charge. So that's also really nice. So we just want to make sure. So I don't see our needles, so I'm going to shoot it above this guy. They stare directly at him. We're going to go down, but that's okay. Let's see. Awesome, awesome. That's about it. And you'll start to see them multiply here because we're hitting so many crits. Let's hit the triple bypass one more time. We're going to throw it in here. We're going to let them do some damage. We got the underbarrel back, so we're just going to shoot in the air. And we're just going to stare. That's it. And you can kind of see those, like, swirls. Those are the bone shards working. So you can see we just did a lot of crit damage to him. So we're going to look at Saddleback, and you can kind of see him just disappear. So let's hit him with some totems. Roll the dice on him. And here you go. You'll see it multiply real fast. And then we'll stare at him, and he just disappears. Cool. We got a Leggy. So we're just going to clear this area out by just looking at things. There we go. You can see the fireworks shield going. I don't see any more needles. We're going to pop it one more time. And one of the really cool things with this build, too, is because you're not firing all the time, you feel like you get that underbarrel up pretty dang fast. So we got a nice little Hellwalker. So just in the off chance that this build gets nerfed, let's try out the Hot Slugger real quick. I think the Hot Slugger is going to be fine. So let's go ahead. So you can see we got Windfall there. So we're going to blow these. And you can see how, because of that skill point, I'm not having to reload the Hot Slugger at all. Yeah, I think we'll be alright. We're going to be fine. We got another weapon that we can look at, but it's not as fun. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Okay, so we'll have something to rely on if any of this gets fine-tuned. But let's go ahead. Let's do one more thing, and I do want to show you guys. Let me show you Radix. So just so you know that this build is insane. We're gonna hit a Vault Monster real quick, and then we'll call it, and then yeah, we're done. Okay, cool. So we're at Radix, and I just want to show you guys how ridiculous this is. It may crash my game. I'm gonna be real honest. So we'll see. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get that needle launcher up and running. We're going to wait to throw out our totems until we see the health bar. Alright, there we go. See, we already hit Windfall. So we're going to want to throw out all 4. Let's hit them with some crit knives, because we want this to go fast, because this is true and UVH6. So you can kind of see them. They're multiplying. Easy peasy. So they're probably going to look at these ricochets as something. This is obnoxious. We got some drops. All right, let's see. Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, we got an Anarchy. Nice, nice. What else we get? Oh. Wind Rider. Okay, cool, 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 cool. So anyways, that's it for the build. I will post in my description, I will post the save file for this game. So if you know how to work the save editor, go for it. I'm happy for you guys to have this build. Just going through it real quick. So these are all the weapons that we have. I do have one pearl. The pearls are kind of ass in this game. So if you want to test around with this build with like some of the other items or weapons that we have, feel free to go for it. So these are some of the other weapons that we have. These are some of the other shields that I have. I have just about every class mod you could think of, I think. I got a lot of the class mods. Nothing's optimized or min-maxed. So take that with a grain of salt. Like, you may have to get some firmware to put on these. As far as rep kits go, I got an adrenaline pump and a shiny war paint. So have at it. And then these are all the enhancements I have. I haven't farmed a lot on this build, so this is what I got. But you guys are free to have it and play with it and do what you will. So the link for the save file will be in the description, as well as my Mobalytics page, which will have the skill trees and the gear that I'm using up. So for reference, if you need to use it. So I'll have my Mobalytics link in the description, as well as a link to the BL4 save editor. So if you do not know how to use the save editor, I am posting a video directly after this, just going through on how to use it. It is for PC only, so my console friends, I am so sorry. If I knew of a way how to get this to you, trust me, I would. I never went over the firmware that I have, because it just, up until I got this certain piece of gear, it was like, it wasn't worth talking about. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I love you sons of bitches. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.